My fiancé left me at the altar for my best friend, so I became the nightmare he calls family. I was 25 when I found out how deep betrayal could cut. It wasn't the kind of hurt that fades after a few weeks. It was slow and steady. It made every good memory taste bitter, turned every dream into something dark. It started with Josh, my fiancé and boyfriend of 5 years. He was the one who said forever first. He picked the rings, booked the hall, chose the song for our first dance. He was the one who said he couldn't wait to spend his life with me. I believed every word. Then there was Sarah, my best friend since kindergarten, my maid of honor. We grew up like sisters. We shared clothes, secrets, heartbreaks. She held my hand when my grandma died, promised me she'd always be there. On my wedding day, I stood at the altar smiling like an idiot, ready to say, I do. The church was packed. Everyone I knew was watching. Josh took my hand, looked into my eyes, and instead of vows, he said, I can't do this. Before I could even breathe, he turned around and kissed Sarah. Right there in front of everyone, he told me they'd been together for months. He said he was sorry, but he wasn't. I saw it in his eyes. Sarah just stood there, smiling softly, holding his hand. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. People whispered and stared. Some laughed quietly. My mom covered her mouth in shock. I felt frozen, numb, empty. They walked out together while I stood there shaking in a white dress. The happiest day of my life turned into my worst nightmare. In the weeks that followed, I watched them live like nothing happened. Instagram posts, weekend trips, dinners at the places Josh and I used to love. They acted like I never existed, but something inside me had broken. Something that couldn't be fixed with apologies or explanations. I didn't want to cry or fight or scream. I wanted to make them hurt quietly, permanently. Josh's dad, Henry, was a rich, successful, and powerful lawyer. He was recently divorced, lonely, but kind. He'd called me after the wedding, apologizing for his son, asking if I was okay. I said I was fine, even though I wasn't. Henry told me I deserved better. That's when the plan clicked into place. I started visiting Henry, just talking at first. Coffee turned into dinners turned into late nights on his balcony. He told me how alone he felt, how disappointed he was in Josh, how his family had broken apart. I listened carefully, remembered everything he said. When he mentioned he wished he had someone who cared, I said I understood, touched his arm, and let the silence do its work. Within months, we were dating quietly. Henry was happy. For him, it was real. For me, it was calculated. Josh didn't even know until Thanksgiving dinner. When I walked into Henry's dining room holding his dad's hand, Josh dropped his glass. Sarah's face turned white. What's she doing here? Josh asked, voice tight. Henry smiled proudly. This is my fiancé. Josh just stared at me, eyes wide, jaw open. Sarah shrank beside him, gripping his arm tightly. You can't be serious, Josh said, almost whispering. Oh, I am, Henry said, squeezing my hand. I've never been happier. Josh stormed out, dragging Sarah behind him, but I stayed, laughing with Henry like nothing happened. 6 months later, we married in a small, perfect ceremony. Josh didn't show up, but Sarah did, standing awkwardly at the back, unsure how to act. I smiled at her from across the room. She looked away, humiliated. After that, every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering became a new nightmare for Josh and Sarah. They watched as Henry gave me the family heirlooms, the hugs, the smiles they wanted. At Christmas, Josh finally broke, cornered me by the fireplace. Why are you doing this? He asked quietly. I smiled calmly, coldly. Because you took everything from me. Now, every single time you look at your own family, you'll remember exactly what you did. He never asked again. He stayed quiet, miserable, knowing I had everything he wanted. The inheritance, the respect, the affection. Henry and I built a life together. It wasn't just revenge anymore. Henry loved me genuinely, and slowly, I loved him back. But for Josh and Sarah, I was a permanent reminder of their betrayal. Every time Josh calls me by name, I correct him gently. Call me mom.